Hi, this is Anna Howard from Engaging Ecosystems, and I'm bringing you a video today about isopods and springtails. They are a key type of inhabitant for your natural planted vivariums. And a lot of people, one of the first myths I encounter when I start talking about bringing isopods and springtails in is like, you're going to bring bugs into your house on purpose. Won't they like get an infestation or something? And it's not actually possible to get an infestation of springtails and isopods, given that they like to live in different types of forest floor, usually damp forest floor type of environments. So unless you're keeping your carpets misted every day with leaf litter on top of them, the isopods and springtails are not going to take up residence in your home. They also cannot climb the glass or the sides of the plastic tubs like I keep them in, so they cannot escape. And they really don't like to come out during the day, and they don't really like to come out of the soil at all. The way to see how much of a population you have in your vivariums, the best way to find out, because some people are like, I put them in and I can't see them. And I'm like, go in there with a flashlight at night, and you sort of lift the leaf litter up and shine the light in there, and then they all scurry for cover. And then you'll know how your populations are growing in your vivariums. So I'm going to turn this camera around today, and we're going to take a look at isopods and springtails. Okay, so what I have here, crawling on my finger, or not crawling at the moment, is an adult, there we go, get him in focus for you guys. This is an adult dwarf white isopod. And they really don't like to be disturbed during the daytime. They're very grumpy. They like to stay in the soil. They like staying under the charcoal bits in here. But I just wanted to show you, there he goes. I just wanted to show you how teeny tiny they are. They're so cute. Anyway, so I'm going to drop him off in here. Now, the reason I have two bins split is this bin, I have springtails in both bins, but this bin had my larger gray isopod. But somehow, dwarf white isopods got into this bin as well, and I didn't intentionally add them. So it was one of those life finds a way kind of moments, but that's not really that big of a deal, because when I seed my vivariums, I like to use both species of isopods as well as springtails. And I'm also going to be getting some more of the giant species in, which are fun, and they're more brightly colored and sort of entertaining to watch on their own when they come out. I'm looking for a gray one for you guys. I'm going to turn this off for a second. Here we go. Found some adult grays. These look very similar to the native gray isopods in, say, the continental United States or in England. We call them roly-polies, we call them pill bugs, we call them woodlice. There's a number of names for them. They really don't like me waking them up in the midday. But these, the gray ones will actually roll up when you take them out. The white ones don't do that so much, but they're sort of true roly-polies. But as you can see, there's a little dwarf white one right there. So they just sort of showed up one day, and I'm like, okay, there's all kinds in this bin. But when I sell these to folks to start seeding a vivarium, what I do is I fill a deli cup up with some of the soil mix so that you get the springtails for sure, and then I make sure you get adults of both species, at least a dozen or so of the whites and a half dozen or so of the grays. So that's how I keep them in their bins. Okay, so that was isopods and springtails up close, and you can get an idea for they're really kind of fun little, I still call them bugs, even though they're technically not, but we'll just call them bugs for the sake of argument. And they are an essential part of your vivarium because they eat mold and they eat dead, decaying organic matter, and they will break down the poop of the sort of higher species, the frogs or the geckos or whatever else you are keeping in that vivarium. They'll break down the poop for you. So some people are like, why should I go through the effort of setting up this tank? It's, I can keep my reptile on, especially for people who are keeping crested geckos and leopard geckos and things of that sort. They're like, I can keep them on paper towels. And it's easy, but you have to clean their poop up on a regular basis. They're also going to get sick. Once you set up a thriving natural planted vivarium, the entire thing starts to work together as a system, and sometimes it takes a couple months for it to sort of settle in and for the populations of your cleanup crew to be large enough to handle the poop of your insect. The poop of your pet, not your insects. But it will all start working together, and they'll break that poop down, and it'll go into the soil, which will help feed the plants, which also helps break all of that down. And in a while, you should never have a smell. You won't ever have to clean any more poop up. Literally the only poop I see from my crested gecko or my gargoyle gecko now is if they manage to poop, or the frogs actually, is if they manage to poop up on a plant, like if they're above it and it doesn't get all the way down into the soil. So what I do when I'm misting the tanks is I just turn the mister onto a spray mode, because I still use a hand mister. I just don't have that many tanks right now. And I just spray it right off the leaves, and it goes into the dirt, and then the cleanup crew takes care of it, and I don't have to deal with any poop. I just feed the animals and maintain the proper humidity for each species, which is really not that hard. People are like, how do you keep so many animals? I know compared to some keepers out there, I don't have that many, but compared to most people, you know, the number of fish tanks and 2 geckos and 2 dart frog vivariums, and I'm going to be adding a leopard gecko here soon, and we've got firebelly toads upstairs, and we could talk about those in another video as well. But anyway, they're like, how do you have so many animals? I'm like, really not that hard. Everything sort of functions in an ecosystem, even the planted fish tanks, and we could talk about how that works a little bit. You end up just, it's not a closed ecosystem because you still have to contribute to it by feeding the animals and misting to keep up the humidity, or in a fish tank you have to do water changes, but otherwise they function pretty much on their own, and they require a lot less intervention from you as a pet keeper. So that's why I'm passionate about this type of a system, but also it makes things easier, and they're far more beautiful to have all of these living plants. You have your own little jungles or your own wonderful arid-scapes, or, you know, planted fish tanks or underwater gardens. And so it's just fun, and I want to help bring that to all of you. So I will be back in another video with some information on further on either vivariums or aquariums. I have a list, but I just do whatever sort of is on hand at the moment. I'm trying to kind of go from the ground up with vivariums at the moment, and I need to get some aquarium videos in here, I know, for you fish tank folks. And so I will work on that, and I will see you on Monday. Take care.